I'm here with May Davis. I would say maybe community activist or personal activist. Um, who has a major story that she wants to have out. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me about your.
I have to start from the beginning. Um, so
Speak up.
I have to start at the beginning. My daughter, Darlene Morgan, she wasn't Darlene Morgan then, she was Darlene Brown. She always wanted to do something special with her life. She knew I could not afford to send her to college. So she said to me one day, she said, "Mommy, why don't we go down on Main Street and go to the service people?" She said, "Maybe I want to join." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." We went down, they showed us a film and everything, and so we came back home, and she said, "Maybe I really want to join that." I said, "Well, that's what you want to do." I said, "After all, right now there's no war on or anything. If that's what you want to do, okay." A few months later, my other daughter and her went back down there, and my daughter signed up for the Air Force. She was supposed to take the test. She was very bright, very smart. She took the test and she passed it with high honors. And a couple of months later, she had to go to Texas. That's where she was at. 2 years later, I got a telephone call because I went to California. My mother-in-law lived there, telling me that my daughter was in the hospital. She had a brain tumor. So I left California, and I was doing well there. I worked with the LA gangs when I worked there in California. So I had to come back to Spring Valley. And when I came back to New York, when I came back, I went to the hospital in Washington where the president goes, you know that. And there was my child and a young doctor, and he said to me, he said, "Miss Davis," he says, "we got most of the cancer out. And we left 5%, because where it's at, in the back of her head is very hard to get to, so we're going to try radiation." I said, "Do what you have to do." And he said to me, "It's a good thing that this happened to her at that age." I think she was 22 at that time. I said, "Why?" He said, "Because he used the term, but he didn't mean it, what do you call it? What he said?
Derogatory?
Yes, he said, because if it had shown this ugly head when she was young, we couldn't have saved her." And I said, "That's why she was having all these headaches and stuff." And I used to take my child everywhere. I was a fanatic for Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have the technology that they had today. So she had the radiation. The person who did the radiation didn't know what the hell he was doing. He burnt off a very important vein in the back of my child's head that most of us have, that it has to do with your motivation, your hearing, your eyes, and all that kind of stuff. And from that moment on, she had to have a shunt. If anybody know what a shunt is, a very important thing, because we have it naturally. But in her case, she had to have a shunt in order for things to be pumping right or whatever. So they retired her medically from the Air Force. Like I said, she was doing great. She's so smart. She had a baby. She had a baby just before that, my granddaughter. So she went home, came back home. She had a husband too, which was, I hate to say it, he wasn't all that. I don't even want to get into all of that. But she came home. About a year later, we had to rush her back to the hospital. See, you wouldn't know that it wasn't working unless you was around her, because she, different thing. Come to find out, whoever put the first shunt in, put it in the wrong spot. Oh Lord, I've been through so much, y'all. I just need somebody just to help me tell this story. They put it in the wrong spot. She came home, she went back to RCC school, graduated from there. That's how smart she was. She graduated from RCC, and then about another year later, the shunt shut down again. Had to go back to the hospital. I think it was 4 or 5 times. I can't even remember anymore. So she went back. They replaced it with another shunt. And this happened quite a few times. Okay. I want to get to another point.
How long ago was this?
Okay, she died in '87 was a nightmare when it started.
We're talking 40 years ago this started.
No, 87.
That's 40 years ago.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
1987 is 39 years
I
ago.
know. I'm telling you, I came back from California in '87. Okay. I'm telling you, you don't know. That's why I said I've been through so much. Time was not that important to me. I was running back and forth to the hospitals and doing.
I just want the readers to have a time
Yes,
frame to work within,
I got you. Thank
so
you.
they make it more understandable how long you've been going
Right.
through this.
Exactly. So what happened was, she had to go back, and like I said, it's been about 4 or 5. It's all on record, you know. 4 or 5 times. This one particular time, and this was really hurt me so bad, and it hurt. This doctor, she had to have the shunt changed again. And I told her husband, I said, have him call me. You know I need that, right? I said, have the doctor please call me. So I could hear it from his voice. And his name is on that record too. He said to me, hello, Miss Davis. I said, yes. I forgot his name. All this is in the records. He says, I'm the doctor that's replacing your daughter Darlene's shunt. I said, yeah. I said, again and again and again and again. And he did a little shuttle. He said, just like that. He said, those doctors, listen to what I'm going to say. Those doctors, they weren't what I am. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I'm an expert, specialist. And he says, that's all I do. He said, most likely, and I never forgot these words, he said, most likely, those doctors was training other doctors, other trainees to put shunts in. He said, now grant you, I know his words, I never forgot them. He said, grant you, he said, it might shut off, but it'd be down the line. It's not going to be like a 6 months or whatever. I said, really? He said, really? I said, thank you so much for that. I never thought that I would have to use that, what I'm saying now. Sure enough, she came out of there. Then after that, my other daughter, we didn't want to put her in a nursing home. And she had gotten... So my other daughter, she lived in Albany. And her son. They took her because, see, the veteran hospital is up there, right? VA thing. So she was staying with her sister, and things, all right, she could walk and stuff like that. And then one Christmas, before Christmas, oh God, I guess all this is in records. I can't remember dates too much, but I'll tell you. I went up there to see my daughter and her son. So I looked at Missy, we call her Missy. Everybody know her in Spring Valley by her name, Missy, not Darlene. Missy, remember that. So I said, Ivy, that's my other daughter. I said, Ivy, what's wrong with her ankles? She said, Mommy, I took her to the Veterans Emergency Room. I said, you did? She said, yes. And that doctor said, oh, ain't nothing wrong. She's just, it's just a little swollen or whatever. Like I said, it was a week or two before Christmas. I got a call from my daughter, crying, screaming, the other daughter. Mommy, Mommy, Missy's dead, Missy's dead, Missy's dead. I said, what are you talking about? She said, the ambulance is here now and they're trying to revive her back. Come to find out, she had, what do you call it? A blood clot. She had a blood clot in her ankle that went all the way up to her heart. That caused her to have that heart attack. And from that day forward, she was never the same. So what happened after that, God bless her, they were like this. They would should have been twins, my two daughters. So she brought her back home, and I was looking for, no, she was at the hospital, VA hospital, she was in there. And I raised all kind of hell. If you know me, you know but I do it with style.
I can imagine.
And I said to the social worker, I said, what are y'all gonna do? You know, I said, my daughter can't take care, and I sure can't take care of. I don't know what to do. So she said, we're looking into places now. That's how come I know. Everybody listen to what I'm gonna say. I'm a very spiritual person. And no matter what I've gone through, God always showed me something that He had me. He said, I got you. He said, don't fall apart. It might be hard, but I got you. So they were looking for a place for her. Now this is a good one. They looked for a place it's a nursing home, and it's not a VA. It's a nursing home. It's in oh God, Jesus, what's the name of the place? Like I said, I had so much I can't. It's further upstate. All right. I can call you back and I'll tell you.
Don't worry about it.
It's further upstate. So they got her into that, but there's only two of these places. One up there, and the other one is in Pennsylvania. Only two that does this. Mm-hmm. So she was in there. So I met the director. Now let me tell you what he told me. It's a beautiful place. He said to me, he said, you know, Miss Davis, he says a whole lot of applicants come across my table. He said, but I chose your daughter. That's what he said. I said, but why is only two places? Why is only two places like this that can take care of a person like her? He said, you ask the government and everybody else. He said, because it's not right. One in New York and the other one is in Pennsylvania. How the hell am I going to go see my child in Pennsylvania? Mm-hmm. So God was letting me know then, even though this was a terrible thing that's happening, that He got me because of what the director said to me. So me and my daughter, I used to go up there to catch the bus. What's the nigga? I'd tell you. Anyway, I used to catch the bus right there on exit 14, and I go up there. And then my daughter lived up there too, the other one. Mm-hmm. After that, like I said, she was never the same. We used to go see her. I was making phone calls to everybody that I could. I want to show you something. Oh, I want you to do this. First of all, I went to court here. I went to court I was her advocate for everything. Everything. Nobody's name is on anything. Where's that? Nobody's name is on nothing but mine. I had so many times that I had to sign certain papers for her. And after all this was over with, what did I do with it? After all this
you had it folded on the bottom there. Yeah, okay, the plastic piece is folded over.
No, that ain't it.
The plastic open it up.
Uh-huh.
That piece of plastic, see the piece of plastic there? That keeps folding over. See,
no.
It's the way, no, see that piece of plastic? Yeah.
No, but
now you got it.
I think I put...
No. I did. No, there was a piece of, one of the sleeves kept folding over.
Nope, it's got to be in here. This is from the service. I'm going to pick out my mail too. Like I told you, I had so much stuff on my mind this week too.
Okay.
Good man. I
We
know.
all have it.
But my health, like I said, I was in the hospital for overnight 2 weeks ago. Here you go. I want you to scan this too. This is very important. That's just if I want copies of that. Whoop-de-doo.
This
You will need
So,
this. With
yeah,
that.
this is what that does a request for
Yeah.
copies.
And so, I was making phone calls to lawyers, to the VA, telling them the story. All I wanted them to do was to investigate what I was saying. And nobody would do that for me. In my opinion, they gave my daughter a life of hell. And nobody would investigate the malpractice of what happened. It was like she was a guinea pig. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. Because she suffered so much. She suffered. She still had that little attitude when she looked at me. Like saying, one day she said, Mommy, why did this happen to me? Now, I had 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. None of them had the willpower to try to go as far as she could go. Neither one of them. Missy always wanted to do something with her life. And she was willing, and I've heard her say this. She was willing. She said one time, Mommy, if there's a war, she said, I'm going. Yeah, she said, I'm going. She said, America might not be all what it cooked up to be. She said, but I joined the Air Force. So she says, anything can happen. I'll be ready to go. There was a child that didn't have to go into the service, but she knew the benefits, because she knew I couldn't do it for her. She knew that she could probably, if she had lived, I believe she would have been a colonel or something, seriously. And she was willing. And you don't find, and I'm going to say this coming from my heart, you don't find that many, it's a lot, but now it's a lot or whatever, find that many young African American that would do what she did and was willing to die for this country.
Forget about African American.
Huh?
Just people in general.
In general, right? Exactly.
You're talking about the time right towards the end of the Cold War, where people are okay. The Cold War's over.
Right.
And the military was not a something people were looking at.
Right. Exactly. So I was excited, and I was never afraid that if that did happen or whatever, I was never afraid about that because she was going to do something that she wanted to do. So I was never afraid. And all of this came upon her. Now I call up the VAs. Oh God, you don't know, man. You just don't know. I call everywhere. And they gave me some bullshit story. And the lawyers, now you ready for this? And that goes for the Morgan, all of them. All of them. And you're going to resent this too. You have to, if you feel what I feel. They all said to me, oh, we can't take that malpractice thing. I said, why? Because it's federal. That's what they told me. I said, what the hell you mean federal? It's federal. That's why we can't take it. So I said to everything that we're going through now with the immigrations and everything, the lawyers are breaking their behinds trying to help them, and that's federal. But they couldn't help my child who was an American citizen just to look into what I was saying. I got to get some kind of justice for this child. I made a promise. at her funeral, and I said, I have to get justice for you, Missy, because you shouldn't have never died like that. And because of her death, because of her sickness and everything, what happened to her, her children was nuts. Because when you got children and you're sick all the time, and like I said, the dad wasn't really there to do nothing, it bothered them because they didn't understand. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, and when she was in the hospital and everything, they hardly came to see her when they became adults. So it was always me, my daughter, the other daughter, and my grandson. Now, there's a lot of money involved in here that she never. I got a lawyer, but he getting on my last nerve too. He said, "Well, you're pro whatever, you know." There's a lot of money that she never got because she did. And so I got a lawyer to see if I can get that so I could give, because she got grandchildren. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She has, let me see, I'm a great-grandmother.
Nah, you're not old enough.
I'll be 77 in January. I
You don't
started
let me
young.
day over 75. No,
But-
I'm kidding.
No, but I started
you
young.
look like you'd be a great grandmother.
I know everybody said.
Were you 10 when you had your first kid?
No, I was 17.
Not that young.
17. Missy, I had Missy.
Yeah.
She said, my daughter saved my life when I got pregnant with her. I just have to tell you this little bit of situation.
Whatever you want to put into this, go ahead.
I was 17, almost 17 years old in the Bronx, and the Vietnam War was on. And a lot of I was a very popular person. Even to this day, I believe, I guess I still am. But I had a lot of friends. And that's when the Vietnam War was on, and heroin, and not crack, heroin and cocaine and all that stuff was out there. So I had some friends. I went over to their house, and this young man came in there, and he said, "Ooh, I found out that you could get high off of that." And I think it was about 7 of us in there. I didn't say anything. I'm looking at this. He said, "I'm feeling no pain. You want to try?" I looked at him and I said, "No, that's not who I am." And I walked out. Out of those 7 people, maybe only 2 of them still alive today. Because they took a chance on that. I got pregnant, and you know I wasn't going to take no dope or nothing like that. She saved my life. So I owe it to her to tell her story, because they took her life. They took her life, and she suffered. And when I say suffer, you would have had to see her. She suffered. In and out of hospitals. I'm running back and forth. And then I'm on the phone talking to the VA. Oh, this. I bought this for a reason, too. This is the person that's in charge of the veteran thing. Right there in
Yeah, I
New
know
City.
her.
You know her.
Yeah.
If you mentioned my name, she doesn't know. She was supposed to help me. I just wanted them to investigate. I needed that more than anything. And nobody would help me. She knows the story. She knows the story. And
She just got an award from Senator Weber about a month ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For her service as
Yeah, VA, yeah.
You know, I know her. In the beginning, she tried, I guess, whatever. But it's complicated. Because what I'm saying is a whistleblower. What I'm saying is a whistleblower. I met so many veterans. And I hate when people say, I do not like that word, that term, that when you meet a veteran, you say, "Thanks for your service." Really? I don't like that. And I
Why
can
not?
explain why. I'm going to tell you. All these young men from the Vietnam, World War II, World War III, World War IV, go on and go on. They wasn't here fighting for me. And we had problems here. May it be green, purple, or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Now these people are here. Now you know what's going on. But they wasn't here fighting for me. So what am I going to look at them and say, "Thanks for your service"? When you wasn't here fighting for me. But I know what it means to have a child who was willing to go out there and die because she thought it was the right thing to do to help the country.
Everybody that's in the military, they are fighting for the country, okay, which encompasses all of us, okay, black, white, yellow, purple, green, orange, blue, whatever, okay. One thing I taught my kids: you find somebody that was in the military, you thank them for putting their life on the line. And that's why we say, my kids will always, every time, thank you, and my sons both salute them. Because they went out. I had some friends who were in the military. I have a good friend of mine from childhood was in the Air Force. Another one was in the Navy. I had family and friends who were in the Army. That neighbor of mine when I was growing up was in Vietnam. The man survived Vietnam, survived an exploded appendix, survived overturning his car, rollover in his car, only to die from cancer. Back in October '96. Those are the people that you want to thank for putting their lives on the line. Whether you believe that they're fighting for you directly or not, they're putting their lives on the line to make and having to make the ultimate sacrifice by losing their lives at a young age.
But you get my drift.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that regardless of how you feel on an individual basis, on a collective basis, we need to thank our military and keep them in our minds and hearts.
I felt like that until now. How they treating what they did. You understand what I'm trying to say?
You can't take it out on the servicemen.
No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm sorry. I might have said it wrong.
You can't not thank the service people.
No. I just said that because I know what the reasons why they do all of that. I know that. My child sacrifice. And then the medical part, and I told Sue this.
But that's where you need to put your ire.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I told Sue that. I said, why don't they have an investigation every now and then going to the veterans hospitals and talk to some of the veterans who are supposed to be under the treatments? And she said, she said, that's a good idea. I said, yes. I said, because y'all don't know what's going on up in there. I've spoken to veterans who were supposed to have surgery, and they had a date. Some of those people died because they couldn't get their stuff done. There's so much stuff going on in there, and they need to be investigated. And I don't care. I'd be a whistleblower because I care about people, not just what happened to my child. And sometimes I believe this is what I'm going to say. Sometimes everything that ever happened, most of the time, something or somebody was sacrificed. You believe that? And somehow or another, I believe that my child was a sacrifice in order to bring these things out to help so many others. I've got to believe that. I really do. Because like I said, you would have to be in my shoes, and so many of the veterans used to say to me, "Oh, your daughter is so lucky." And I said, why? Because she got somebody that cared. My family turned their back on me. I can tell you stories. You see how I'm a talker, right? I can tell you stories. That's why when I see a veteran out there with a cup in his hand on the street, they should never have to beg. They should never be hungry. They should always have a place to stay. And nobody investigates this. Nobody. How dare you, this country, do that to them? It's wrong. Nobody investigate. They need to go to the hospital in upstate. They need to go to the one in the city. I've been to all of them. And see and listen to these people. My heart just bled when that guy said, about 3 or 4 of them said that to me and my daughter. How lucky my child is. Because she has a mother and a sister family that care. What about these people? Who's caring for them? We really have to look at this. And like I told you, I had this conversation with Sue. This is not something that I'm making up. And I said, y'all need to investigate in order to find out what's going on. And who knows? Like I said, I do believe in my spirit. And what that last doctor told me, the specialist, he said they were training them. God, I ain't lying. Training them of my child. And nobody would help me.
What do you want to see come out of the exposure of this story?
I want an investigation. Yes, I do. I want an investigation. Like I said, it's not just about my child. Hell no, but it happened this way. I want an investigation to, what's the word I want to use? To hold somebody, those people that's in the Washington thing. I ain't talking about the president or none of them. What do you call it? The Pentagon or whatever?
Pentagon.
I want them to investigate what I'm saying. I've been praying for that for a while. I just need for them to look at these poor people, these men and women. And then, and another thing I can't stand, that commercial, I hate it. I hate this commercial. I'm sure you've seen it. The guy with the cowboy hat on the head, we're helping the veterans send this money. What the hell I got to send money for? This country needs to take care of them.
You're talking about the tunnels, the towers, or the wounded warrior project.
And I spoke to them. Oh, they couldn't help me. But they're all over the TV wanting me to send money where the country should be taking care of them. It's not my responsibility. This country needs to take care of them. Like I said, there's so many right now as we speak. These guys are suffering. And it's not right. Because you said, I understood what you were saying, and it's absolutely true. But I just said that because I thank all of them for everything. But what's the good of thanking them when they come back out here, they got nothing?
Because it shows them that regardless of what might be happening, it shows them the country is grateful for their sacrifice. Sacrificing their time with their families, sacrificing limbs, sacrificing
so many things.
Vision, hearing, all sorts of things that end up with these wounded veterans coming back. The Vietnam veterans were treated very badly.
Oh God, yes.
I mean,
I was there.
That was one of those wars that we were in because of politics and for no other reason.
Right.
We won every major battle in that war. That war was lost at the peace at the negotiating table.
And most of them came back.
Because you had politicians trying to fight fight that war instead of letting Westmoreland do what he had to do.
But now, so many of them came back. They didn't die in the war, but they died on American property because they became junkies. I had 5 guys. They became junkies.
Because they were on medication when they were wounded, and they got addicted to it there.
Right. And nobody paid attention. I'm not. I had a lot of white friends. I'm not. Trust me, I was a very popular person. You know, it don't matter to me. A person is a person. A human being is a human being to me.
I'm a former history teacher, so I understand.
Where'd you work?
37-year survivor of the New York City DOE.
Yeah, really? Oh my God! I worked for East Ramapo.
I was 37 years survivor of the New York City Department of Education.
Yeah.
I said, you don't retire, just retire, but you survive it. I should have gotten the combat pay that our soldiers were getting.
That bad, huh? Wow.
Some of the schools, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
I had a situation. Well, not a situation, but in my second school, this big African American security guard lady. I mean, she was a big lady. And the kids, respected her. She said to me one day, she said, if you ever transferred out of here, I'm putting in my transfer papers.
You say?
I was like, why? What would my leaving have to do with you? She said, because when you're here, I know there's law and order.
Isn't that something?
I had one security guard who